day when the Spirit came. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day when the Spirit came.
Amen. Please be seated. Would you pray with me, please? Holy and loving God, for the many gifts that you give us, we give you thanks and praise. And this truly is the day that you have set aside for us to be in this place at this time. Holy One, we want to thank you for the way that you guide us, the way that you nurture us, the way that you fill us with your Spirit. And we ask tonight that you reach out your hand, that you bless Mark as he shares with us tonight, that you bless each and every one of us, so that our hearts and minds and spirits may be stirred by the words that we hear. May you be present in them, Lord, we pray in your holy name. Amen. 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 Mark, come and join me. And you get
the mic. Yeah, okay. Still working.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about...
Yes. So my name is Mark, as you all probably know by now. I'm from Russia, St Petersburg. I'm an LGBT activist and transgender activist specifically, and a person of faith, Christian specifically. Yeah, that's better. Now I lead the group of LGBT persons of faith in St Petersburg, and I think that's what I will be talking about now mainly, and about our experiences, what we do, what we're planning to do, what our hopes are, and how day-to-day life is in Russia for us.
Which preempts my first question, which is, was that we've heard so much about intolerance in Russia, and yet you're able to run an LGBT group in St. Petersburg. How is that possible?
Well, yes, there is much intolerance, but we're not a criminalized community yet. Well, partially criminalized. You all probably heard about this propaganda ban, but it means only that we cannot talk to minors or tell them anything about sexual orientation and gender identity. But we still can have groups and some protests sometimes, though it is complicated now. And of course we need security, and we check documents and passports of people who come to our community center. But yes, we have a community center in St. Petersburg, and we've never had any problems with it, well, yet. And I hope we will never have them. So, yes, you can run a group in Russia, in basically all regions. Well, in St. Petersburg specifically, we have many organizations and support groups and whatnot.
Now, my geography is really bad, but I know that St. Petersburg and Moscow are quite apart, aren't they? And I do believe that things are different in Moscow than St. Petersburg. Is that correct?
Well, yes, I would say that it is correct. St. Petersburg is considered to be a queer capital of Russia, in fact. So, yes, our community is thriving, and more so than in Moscow. Now, Moscow is much larger than St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is about 5 million people, and Moscow is twice so. So, that's really strange, but that's how it is. LGBT activism in Russia started in St. Petersburg, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are the main challenges that you face in your work with the LGBT community in Russia?
Well, the government. And it's not only the propaganda ban, the whole civil society is not in a bad state right now, and we have many legal obstacles, of course. We have some homophobic and transphobic activists, notorious activists like MP Milonov, who was the author of this propaganda law, and some other actors. But in fact, we do not have many active organized homophobic groups. One of the problems is internalized homophobia and transphobia of the community itself. So we need to put a lot of work in each and every person, including ourselves. So I would say that our main focus, well, for me, for my organization, is community building and empowering the community.
So being trans in Russia, specifically St. Petersburg, how do you access healthcare? Do you have challenges there?
Yes. Short answer. Well, that is exactly the sphere where things are getting better and getting worse at the same time. For example, for me, a trans-masculine person, it is easy now to change my documents because the procedure was changed to a very liberal one where you do not need to do any surgeries or hormone treatment to get legal gender recognition. But at the same time, trans-masculine people, for example, face difficulties accessing hormone treatment. It became very expensive in Russia now, so basically I once counted, and taking hormones is like doing surgery every year.
Wow.
Yeah, in terms of money. So that's the problem. We, well, not my group, but trans activists in St. Petersburg work with healthcare professionals, endocrinologists. Now we've started working with psychiatrists, and we work with psychologists. So it's getting better, a little better. But for every step forward, we we are forced to take a step back.
Yeah, yeah. And so you run an LGBT spirituality group that's interfaith. How do the mainline religious groups then treat that? How do you find their reaction to? Sorry, I'm asking all the questions.
Sorry. No. It's not a stupid question. It's defense mechanism. Mainline churches, meaning mainly Russian Orthodox Church, they are not exactly welcoming, and even liberal Western churches that we have in Russia, like Lutheran Church, which is in some countries at least I think is liberal, they hesitate to support LGBT communities, so most of them have this don't ask, don't tell rules, so to say. Many notorious and famous homophobes are Russian Orthodox priests, in fact. So, yeah. But the problem is, and this with Russian Orthodox Church, that Russian Orthodox Church is really more equal than other churches. And many people are just afraid to speak out because they fear Russian Orthodox Church. And we also have some laws that regulate religious groups, and you need to get a license. And people are afraid to lose the license, and pastors are afraid to lose their congregations, and they might support us, but they will never support us openly. Well, never say never.
So what are the joys and what are the dangers of identifying as LGBTQI in Russia then? And I'm being very kind of blanket here, obviously.
Yeah, I think I will talk about St. Petersburg because Russia is a very, very huge country, and what we have in St. Petersburg and what we have, for example, in Chechnya, you've probably heard about what's happening there. These are just two different worlds. So, Well, there is danger, of course, and when you're open, the risks just increase. So you can lose your job, for example, or you can have problems with your family. If you wear some symbols like rainbow. Rainbow is known to homophobes in Russia. So for rainbow you can get beaten, for example, on the streets or in underground. But they do not know, for example, trans, so you can just cover yourself in trans flags from head to toe and walk the main street, and everyone will think you're just weird. So yes, that's the dangers of living in a mainly homophobic country. The joy, when you're open, it's like the truth that sets you free, and free not only from oppression of heteronormative culture, but from the oppression and lies of government, of what we are told. You cannot afford to believe in what you are told on the TV, for example, because we do not have free media in Russia. So yeah, one of the questions I was asked here quite frequently is whether I watch TV. No. My parents threw TV away at 2001, I think, and because all media is government controlled. So we have some websites, some news agencies on the internet, but no, you do not want to watch TV. Yeah. So yes, when you know that you're oppressed, when you know that you're in danger, and when you see that you're not the only group in such a situation, it gives you power to be free, or power not to believe what you're told.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. So what other LGBT support groups are there in St. Petersburg? Are there ones that you have a relationship with, or that you're connected with?
So we have several quite huge organizations, groups, LGBT groups. For example, Coming Out, where my spouse works. So they have trans program, and they do monitoring of violence and discrimination in the city, and they support LGBT families and whatnot. And also they organize this huge festival, Queer Fest, the one Shannon visited in September. So you are all welcome next September to St. Petersburg. It's not that bad. You can actually walk the street. Yeah. We also have Action group where I also work. And so, yes, Coming Out and Action, we have community centers. The other groups do not have any community centers. So we have bisexual program, well, not bisexual, no, it's a separate group, but they gather with us. So, bisexual group, and we also have a school of activists where we just teach what you need to know, because most people come to us and they want to do something, but they lack skills and knowledge of what's going on. So we teach them. And we also have a trans program. There is also a huge film festival, Side by Side. It's in November, I think, and you're all welcome to visit again. And many small groups.
How many spare bedrooms do you have?
St. Petersburg is much cheaper than Brighton.
20
yeah.
pounds a night for a really nice room. £20 a night for
Really?
a really nice
Yes,
room.
I think so. And we were booking that room in the last minute, so probably it's even cheaper. So you're really all welcome. And the tickets to Russia are not that expensive. Okay. And we have many small groups. Like, for example, we have what do you call it? We have obligatory army recruitment. So all men must go to army, and it's bad there, and especially bad for gay men and trans women. And so there is a group that helps young gay men and trans women to avoid army. It can be done legally. And bisexual group, and another group about families, and some HIV groups. So yeah.
It sounds like a lot of the homophobia and transphobia in Russia is state-sponsored. So how do you see that changing, or do you not see it changing at all?
Well, you know, we are lucky that it is state-sponsored. And I hope it remains so, because people lack motivation. They do it because probably they are paid. I cannot confirm it now with the facts, but yeah, I've heard from them that they are getting paid for it. But yeah, they will go anywhere if they are paid. So yeah, no, and I did not answer a question actually. I don't think that's changing. Well, it's changing with the youth, because now that we have this propaganda ban, LGBT youth are afraid to come to organizations and to receive even the help we are able to give them, like psychological support or legal support. And so many of them are joining street gangs. And so the street war between youth gangs is between gangs who support LGBT or those who oppose LGBT, actually. So we have some young homophobes and transphobes who are really violent. But LGBT youth gets violent too, because they do not have any other means to respond and to receive justice, but to be violent, and it's a very troubling situation for us, of course.
So, are you enjoying being in England, and what's the best thing that you've experienced on your trip here?
Yes, I enjoy being here. I'm a little jealous of what you have here. Well, I hope we will have the same and more in a few years, or maybe 10 years, or 100. So, all my experiences are quite good. So I've visited the shelter the first night I was here, and it really was an amazing experience. We do not have we have only one shelter in Russia for LGBT people. I mean, for the whole Russia.
This is in London, yes? Yes.
Yes, in London, yeah. And I just saw how many efforts and how many work is put into this program. Well, this service here, of course. Right now, I'm so glad to be here and to be with all of you. Yeah, I think these are major. I forgot the word. That's it, I'm shutting down. So, the problem is that if I communicate too much, my brain just starts to shut down, and I forget everything in Russian and English and every language. The best experiences, yeah.
That's wonderful, thank you. So, thank you so much for being with us. Hopefully, after you've had a cup of tea, then it works really good. It gets everything going again, and then you can chat with us one-on-one. And if anyone has a question, hopefully it's okay to talk to you.
Please feel free to ask. I have a cup of coffee under my chair, just for that occasion.
Mark, thank you so much for listening. It's really appreciated. Thank you.